Now it's time for something completely different. This is very different for me. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am Amalgam Ash. I have a new camera. You are looking at it right now. Uh-oh. Echo? Anybody else hearing echo? Anybody else? The echo is not on purpose. Let's try to fix that. Ah. There we go. That should fix it. It sounds really cool. I'll turn it up for effect sometimes. So, let me try that. Let me try that on purpose. Wah! Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the quest, brave heroes. I am good King Ash. First of all, good morning to Gravendall, Ribby, Evolution, Elviler, and I bet Nick is going to drop in, or is already here. Awesome, I've got a new intro. I've got a new Echo Wah intro that I can do. I hope I can remember that next Monday. New camera. It's the Keo Ultra. I cannot believe I got it this early. It came from Hong Kong. I got the shipment notification, like, I don't know, Monday. And I'm like, oh, it shipped. Nice. I'll get it, before the month is over. I got it yesterday. I was amazed. But here's the deal. The room is now going to undergo some changes. Dragon puppet for Echo. Yeah. Dragon puppet. Dragon puppet for Echo. Who are you calling a puppet? Yeah, weeb. Enjoy your Warhammer. Don't anger the dragon. Please. Please. I've got to get used to a couple of things. I got to plan a workflow around this setup, but I'm really, really happy with this setup. Like, I'm about to rearrange everything in my entire room. Not necessarily the camera that you see now before you, but... Oh, sorry. Damn it. Hold on. Whoop. There we go. Still on echo. Good morning, Nicholas. Hail. Let's go into the... tabletop view, and I'll turn the avatars on so you guys can see your lovely, beautiful little gaming guys. And wah! Transition. Here we are. This is the real deal. Oh, I know something I can do real quick. There we go. Beautiful. Awesome. You can see every one of my pores. Yay! Time to trash the camera. Lock those docks. All right. Fantastic. So, what I've got here is a 2-camera setup, which is what I've always dreamed of having. Yeah, this is a 30-inch by 6-foot table. So, I'm super happy to be able to point at me. I bought you for my face. Look at my face. Look at my face. There we go. Now you're forced to see the face. The lighting's not the best. There's still placement issues, wires. This was very hastily thrown together. Don't worry about it. You know, it's going to get better over time. I need to rearrange this entire room to get this to work the way that I want. But I've been talking about doing that for some time now. And now that you have a 2-camera setup, it won't be enough, and you'll want 3 cameras. That's probably scarily accurate, but I'll tell you this much, Elviler. I can take the camera now, clone it, and zoom in on certain things with one of them, and then on the other, I can have I can have the same camera zoomed out, kind of like as you see it here, but I can have it cut into 2 things and have one focused on where I'm going to roll my dice, so they're always easy to see, and another one focused on like cards, so you always see the stats of the warriors and stuff. And then I can take that source camera and place it in the middle, and I can arrange everything to have like a UI, and that's kind of the goal, to have like a UI setup. So I don't necessarily want the profile view like I've got going on with my face cam, but I moved this earlier and it froze. Hopefully it won't freeze. Good morning, Kill Ratty. Listen, I won't hold it against you, but that name's a little anti-Skaven. And I'm a huge Skaven fan, so we'll just, you know, we'll let it go this time. Let you off with a warning. I'm kidding. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for dropping in. We're going to play Warhammer Quest. Melon Toucan. Good morning. Thank you for dropping in. We're going to play some Warhammer Quest. And there's a lot of little avatars running around the screen now. Look at all you guys. That's what you get for talking. You say something in the chat, you get to drop down there. All right. So when we last left, how did I get the little avatars? It's a secret. It's a program called Streaming Avatars. You can get it on Steam for $14.99. Yeah, I need light over here. I'm going to have a dark side. The dark side of Ash. I always wanted to do a persona on the channel where I've got like this evil side. And whenever I use the evil persona, I'm just really mean, and I trash every game that I play. You know, like every other RPG maker reviewer out there. And it would be kind of my way to dig at them even more than I do already. So yeah, 3 pieces of tech, 2 cameras, a microphone to rearrange whenever I do streaming. But the idea is to get it to be as little effort as possible, so I can just jump into the streaming. You guys don't have to wait forever. Whenever you see the stream starting soon screen, that's just gonna be like 30 seconds. And yes, Gravendall is correct. There's only 2 days left to get your Hero Quest submissions in. Get your Hero Quest submitted, please, right away. Even if it's not like totally polished, get it submitted before it's too late to polish it and submit it. I'm not going to have another Quest Jam where I offer the Guardian Knight as a prize. It's not going to happen. What is going to happen is probably more Quest Jams, but the Guardian Knight, I'm not going to get lucky enough to get my hands on a 4th one. So, and I say 4th because I bought 2. I gave 1 away on Twitter. I bought a 3rd to give away in this jam. All right, when we last left our heroes, I had rolled a 1, and I had drawn an unexpected event card, and that unexpected event was 1d6 orcs and 1d6 orc archers. So the power phase is already done. But what really sucks about this is that off camera, I decided to speed things along and roll for those orcs and orc archers. And what I really don't like is that I rolled a 5 and a 6. I'm not going to I'm not going to mulligan that. I'm going to keep it. But I rolled a 5 and a 6. And I placed the orcs as close as possible. 1-to-1 hero. And the orc archers are as far away from the heroes as possible. But in line of sight. So, that's our unexpected event. We have a crap load of orcs now. Just an absolute crap load. What I probably could have done is, instead of placing all 6 orcs in the corridor back here, I probably could have put 3, and then 3 in the opposite room, kind of in the way. But I think I'll leave it as is. I think I'm just going to leave it as is because of space constraints and because I'd like to get in and actually play the game. Almost missed out. Couldn't find it on Twitch. Had to look on your Discord to see if you were streaming. Hi, Jace. Welcome. Good morning. That sucks that Twitch... Oh, it's off on Twitch. Yeah, I'm done on Twitch. Twitch is doing nothing for me, so I need to tweak my software to cater to YouTube entirely. So Twitch is done. I was using Restream for Twitch. Nobody's finding the channel with Twitch. Nobody's following the channel on Twitch. I'm not a Twitch guy, it seems. I can accept that. I will focus redouble my efforts on YouTube and make even better content than I can when I'm restreaming. Nothing against my Twitch viewers, but the Twitch channel only exists to advertise for the YouTube channel anyway. So sorry you almost missed out, but there's why. Elvira, let me know when you do another quest jam. If I have time, I'll make another Hero Quest chessboard for a prize. That would be awesome. Absolutely awesome. You think Twitch is just going downhill altogether? Maybe. Harrison, I've been thinking that for a long time. Harrison Heller, who runs Senpai Gaming, somebody I watch and really, really love his videos and his viewpoints on tech, streaming tech. He's going back to Twitch this year, so I don't know exactly why, what experiment he's trying to do, what point he's trying to prove, but it'll be interesting to see why. I can't find... Oh, yeah, here it is. Spent the whole time looking for this and couldn't find it, but there it is. There's my dice roller, and it shows up on the camera just fine. So here we go. It is now the heroes phase, and we need to kill as many orcs as possible. So the barbarian is first in line. He is ready to strike this first orc. The orc... Where'd my card go? Here it is. The orcs and the orc archers have a weapon skill of 3, and I just need to roll... I actually need to roll a 4 as a barbarian to hit that. That sucks. Ugh. Well, alright, let's do it. And it's a 2, which means I miss with my barbarian. Feels like that's not right, but it is what it is. Barbarian misses. It's the elf's turn. The elf is now going to... We're going to let these orcs back here fire their stupid arrows at us. I'm not going to worry too much about getting hit by arrows because the arrows have a bit of a less chance of hitting us to begin with. Hi, good morning, Moseth. Glad you could drop in. So I'm going to have the elf go ahead and attack this first orc right here. I hope you guys can see the stuff on the board well. So, elf is going to attack this orc. Excuse me. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. All right. That's better. Much better. Please excuse me. Elf is now attacking the orc. Do I hit? I have rolled a 5. Yes, I've absolutely hit. Now it's time to see how much damage we do. It's 1d6 plus 3 wounds. That's 1. Plus 3 wounds. The orc has a toughness of 4, which means nothing goes through. I didn't hit him at all with my elf. Son of a gun. It's the wizard's turn, but the wizard is dead. He's a few rooms back. Which bean water am I enjoying today? I am enjoying Instant Colombian. Great value brand. It is a flavor that I actually really enjoy. The wife and I had our next to last pot of Death Wish Valhalla yesterday. We've got enough beans for one more pot today. And let me tell you, I've never drank a smoother coffee. I think we've got plenty of the pumpkin flavor left because we didn't prefer it. But me and the boy will finish that off because I don't mind the pumpkin flavored coffee. Wife doesn't like that very much, but I'll drink it. I'll drink it. It's too smooth not to drink. It's the dwarf's turn, and this time I can roll 2 dice, and I can keep the bigger result for when I'm doing damage. For now, the dwarf is maybe able to kill all of the orcs around him. That would be awesome. Melon, thank you very much for the $2 donation. That's very kind of you. Sheba Dog with a big smile on his face, tilting his head. I have many bags on the way. 5. The dwarf has rolled a 5. My hero. I love you, Mr. Dwarf. And now he hits. That's a 5. I'm not even going to roll a second dice, or should I? Excuse me. No, because the 5 is going to kill the first orc. And now he goes right into the second orc. Wait, no. Wait, they've got to be right next to each other, don't they? I can't death blow. I can't death blow. Maybe a quick, a very, very quick clarification from Nick. And if you want, you can just type a yes or no, or nothing at all, if you want me to dig through the book. But, like, if these orcs, I'm pretty sure I remember the last time, the way that the orcs are situated around my dwarf, they are, let's zoom out so you can actually see them. Here's my dwarf, and the orcs are in ordinal directions around him, west, south, east. I just killed the east orc. Does the death blow go into the south orc, or is that a no-no because they're not next to each other? Type no if I cannot death blow into the next orc because they're not next to each other. Melon gives to the bean water cause. It has to go clockwise or counterclockwise. I get that, but what I'm saying is, I'm pretty sure in the last stream I asked about that, and I think it's because they weren't standing next to each other. Like, the orcs are not adjacent. But if there were 3 orcs all in a straight line, and I was standing in front of the one in the middle, I'm sure I would be able to death blow all 3 if I started on one side, and if I was rolling damage all the way through. Glenn Davis is here. That is a no. With them being apart from each other like they are here, diagonal technically from one another, I shouldn't be able to hit them. So if that's correct, then the dwarf has killed one, but that's all I can do. So now it is the monster's turn. Hooray! Can't wait. Love it. It's fantastic. I'm going to put this orc on the dwarf card. Despite the grim outlook of things, I'm actually prepared to die. So, God, I wish I could stop doing that. If all 3 in a line, you can death blow all of them. I know that. That's not the issue. The question is different. The question is if they're in ordinal directions and not directly next to each other, which I'm pretty sure I cannot death blow them in that situation. Even though they're all technically adjacent to the dwarf, they're not adjacent to one another. That would be a pretty cool custom character ability, though, to go ahead and just go in a complete circle. All right, so I guess you can go in a complete circle if you are completely surrounded by monsters. I do realize that because I remember very specifically that being said in the last stream. It's possible to have 8 monsters all around you and kill them with 1 dice roll if you just keep going. But if they're apart from each other, as here, where there's not any monsters in the diagonal corners, you cannot continue your death blow. It interrupts because of the potential blank space. That's how I'll remember that going forward. So my brain shall learn this time. All right. So monster's turn. I don't know if there is a particular monster order. I don't remember having this many monsters on the board at the same time. So I'll just start from the very left and work my way to the very right. I mean, it doesn't really matter who they hit first anyway. So the very first target is going to be the dwarf, and the dwarf has a tough, a weapon skill of 4. The orc is going to have to roll 4 to hit him. And he does, of course, hit him with a 5. So the orc's going to roll for damage. That's a 3 plus his strength of 3, which is a 6. The dwarf has a toughness of 5, and only 1 hit gets through. I need a writing utensil. And I have a pen. How lame is that? All right. The next orc is going to hit the barbarian. He's adjacent to the barbarian. That's a 6. Man, why? He hits, and the barbarian's toughness is 4. He's going to roll a 1. He does no damage. The next orc is going to hit the elf. He rolls a 1. He does not hit. The next orc is going to hit the elf. He rolls a 4 and does hit. How much damage does he do? 4 plus a strength of 3. And that is 7. And the elf has a toughness of 3, so he takes 4 damage. Ouch. Nick is rereading the death blow rules. I am paying attention in between dealing with this. I've got 4 wounds on this elf. So if his toughness is 3 and I just did 4 damage, the elf is now slain. 2 diagonal monsters are considered adjacent, are they not? Does Warhammer consider them adjacent? Because that's not true by default. It depends on the convention of the game that you're playing. If 2 diagonal monsters are considered adjacent, then yeah, that would track. I don't know. That's why the question, because this came up in the last stream, and I believe the answer was no. Those monsters are not next to each other because they were occupying the ordinal spaces adjacent to the hero. Which is fine. I mean, if we were wrong last time, and this time I should have death blew. if the dwarf should have blown all the orcs around him, then I'm on board. We'll make sure we do that next time. I'll keep the result this time because, you know, it punishes me just for being dumb, and I'm all about being punished. This is going to become an 18+ stream. Have you already used the elf's healing potion? Yeah, I have. It's already been used. It is flipped over. I don't remember who I healed with it. Oh, I healed the elf with it because he has 10 wounds, and there's a circle drawn over the 1. You can't see it. So that's my O for the 10. Okay, the elf is not dead. Thank you to Glenn for reminding me that I used my health potion, or else I would have overlooked this. So 10 minus, what did I say? He's got a toughness of 3. He lost 4. He's got 6. He's still alive. Glenn has saved the elf. If I could super chat Glenn right now, I would. Most Death says I never based it like that. If 3 orcs were in any shape, say around the hero, that's a death blow X3 situation. I can understand. I just want to know if the rules do have a definitive interpretation. Like, if they're pretty explicit anywhere in the rules, that's the way I'm going to go. If it punishes me more, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you, Melon. If you're heading out, have a great rest of your morning. I will see you in the Discord. Nick is hunting the rules. Well, I'm going to go ahead and finish hunting these orcs. The second orc did get a hit off on the elf. Now the 6 archers are going to attack. I suppose 2 archers will attack each hero. So I'll start with the dwarf. The 2 archers in front raise their bows. They aim, they knock, they draw, and they loose. And the 2 arrows fly through the corridors, despite the lack of light, except for that emitted by the torch held by the barbarian. The first orc rolls a 2. But it needs to roll 4 or more to hit. He misses. The second orc rolls a 3 and misses. The third orc is aiming at the barbarian now and hits. Absolutely hits. The damage is 1 + 3, and the barbarian soaks it up easily. He shrugs the arrow off as it strikes his shoulder. The fourth orc fires at the barbarian and hits, and the amount of damage he does is 2 + 3. The barbarian has 4 toughness. So he flexes his pec in order to deflect the incoming arrow, speeding at him from the pitch black darkness of the adjacent corridor. However, it does graze his nipple, causing him to wince in a well-hidden agony. Zool, the barbarian, loses 1 wound. I'm going to be honest here. I hate the convention of calling your body points or your hit points wounds, because a wound is something like the more you have of them, the worse it is. So to say that you get wounds or lose wounds or what have you, it makes my brain think in flip-flop ways, and I don't like it. It's okay. It's okay. I forgive it. It's the Warhammer way. The barbarian's very angry about this. Next. The fifth orc is aiming at the elf. He's recalling days of his youth when he had elf flank steak, and licking his lips, he aims, knocks, draws, fires, and he hits. And he takes 5 flippin' damage. That's 8 total against the elf, who has a toughness of 3, but he takes 5 wounds. I'm not liking my elf's odds. He's down to 1 hit point left. Wound capacity, I get that. How it's worded and how it's referred to, it makes it confused. It doesn't make it confusing to me, but it's just, we're calling a chicken a duck. And while we all know that the chicken's duck, I want to picture a duck and I can't because it's chicken. All right, that's a terrible, is that the Midwestern in me coming out now? Good Lord. You can feel free to unsubscribe. The 6th orc fires at the elf and misses. He was evidently too distracted, seeing the drool drip out of his neighboring orc's mouth, thinking of elf flank steak. That is the turn of all of the orcs. The one thing that I forgot to do in this round was roll for the barbarian's berserk. Would he have gone berserk? 5. No, he would not have gone berserk in that round anyway. And he would not have gone angry berserk, hitting his opponent, friend, which he is in striking distance of the dwarf. So now it is time to start a new round. This is the Exploration phase can't happen. We're in the power phase, which also really can't happen, but we will roll for unexpected events. And we get a 6. And while that would be so awesome of a roll to get if the wizard were still alive, he is not. And our 6 means nothing except we don't see more unexpected events. And that's great, because what we have going on here is already a terrible thing. It's the warriors phase now, and the barbarian's going to roll for berserk. And he gets a 3 and does not go berserk, despite having an arrow wound to the nip. He decides he's going to strike this orc, and that's a 1. That does not hit in the slightest. It fails terribly. Moving on to the elf. It's the second time the barbarians failed an attack against an orc in this combat. Blech. Blech. Elf, not dwarf. Rulebook, if there's a monster standing in an adjacent square to the warrior's initial target, and that is still within range of his attack, the swing of the blade may catch it too. So, it all boils down to as long as diagonal counts as adjacent. Which I believe it does, because you can only attack an adjacent monster with a weapon. So if there's a monster standing in an adjacent square to the warrior's initial target, and that's still within range of his attack. So next time, I will attack the monsters that are in the ordinal positions adjacent to the hero, even if they are only occupying those squares. But if the monsters are more than one square apart, I will not death blow them. Roll to wound the monster as normal. If this monster is also killed, the blow carries around in the same direction to the next monster, and so on. I like it. I like it because I understand it. That works. Thank you, Nick, for getting all of that typed up. That's a big help. It's a lot of work. I appreciate it. The dwarf is going to roll to hit the orc right here, this guy. And does he? It's a 4. With a weapon skill of 3, he does hit him. The 4 hits, and he's going to do damage. That's 1. I'm going to re-roll that because the dwarf's got the great axe. Yes, I can roll an extra dice for wounds and keep the larger result. And that's a 2. Yay. This mighty blow, which we call a death blow, stops when the warrior fails to kill a monster with a single blow, or his blade meets an obstacle such as a wall or another warrior. Okay. It's fine. I wasn't clear on that, but I didn't realize that I wasn't clear on that. And now I realize that I am clear on that, now that I know that that's a thing. So that will help me in the future. With a damage roll of 2 plus a strength of 3, the dwarf's total is 5. And where are we? But since they have a toughness of 4, we only get 1 wound on him. So we need to take our little tiny little red dice that come with Warhammer Quest that are so cute, and place it next to this orc to tell us that he has 1 wound. Rather, he's lost a hit point. Lame. Next, the elf. I actually didn't roll for the elf. I was rolling for the dwarf because I got caught up in some rule stuff, but that's on me. So we're gonna roll for the elf now. Dang it. Sorry. Let's do this with the elf. Doesn't like super matter anyway, because we're still gonna be in the same predicament. They're still pretty far from one another. Elf rolls a 3 to attack this orc, and that's a 6 total against the... Yeah, no, that doesn't hit. Because I have to roll... Wait a minute. The enemy's weapon skill is 3. I only have to roll a 3 to hit that with the elf. So I hit him. I roll for damage. That's a 6. That orc is dead. And now I get to apply the death blow as long as Nick finds out that adjacency is covered by diagonal spaces only. So I shall wait as long as it takes to get that info, because I don't think we have an index. In the rule book. Of course we don't. Ah. 99% sure diagonal is also considered adjacent. I have no reason to disagree with that. I mean, it's in my best interest to agree with it. Isn't there a combat? I mean, when you're placing monsters, it's considered within attack range. So page 14, just placing monsters. It just doesn't use the term adjacent. And, well, it does use the word adjacent, but not in the context of monster to attack hero. And I think that's fine. So from this point going forward, oh, maybe it's in the quick start guide? The getting started? Let's see here. This wounds, get through it all, play the game. Event, treasure. No, the goblin that you fight in the quick start is by his lonesome. He doesn't get killed in one hit. Oh, wait a minute. The barbarian hits the goblin. Well, the barbarian hits the goblin, and he does kill it in the first turn, the first strike. But he doesn't even go into the death blow, which he absolutely should, because that goblin is standing right next to the first goblin that the barbarian kills in the example in the getting started guide. But that's totally fine, because it then goes on to explain particulars of combat beyond just moving next to an enemy and rolling and then seeing the turn flow. So I'm totally fine with that. I'm just going to go ahead and roll right into the next monster, because I think of the four of us that have commented on it so far, myself included, we kind of support the idea that this guy here should die. That's the long and short of it. The elf's going right in, and it's a 2, and that's added to his strength of 3. That's a 5. The stupid orc has a toughness of 4. He takes 1 wound, because of course he would just take 1 wound. So That ends the death blow and the hero's face, because I've already gone with the dwarf. Now, the orcs down the hall are going to fire their arrows. So, we're going to fire 2 arrows at the dwarf. Ward icon! Hold on, I've got a cheers ward. Good morning and cheers to Ward Icon. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for dropping in. Enjoy your chibi character running around the screen. It should look very different in here next week. I'm going to start moving furniture in my back room. Although I have to say, if only my board game shelf was the one that was visible in my face cam, that would be pretty cool. But my table is situated in front of my closet now, so I can't get in there with the table being where it's at. But the table being right next to my desk is awesome. Like, it is perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and move everything against that wall. The stuff on that wall is going to move back. I'm just going to rotate the entire room exactly 90 degrees. That's what I'm going to do. And that's going to help out a lot. The first 2 orcs are firing arrows at the dwarf because they can. And both of them miss. Both of them sail right over the dwarf's head. I would like to imagine that they aimed at what they thought was the dwarf, but they actually aimed at the little wings that are on the dwarf's helmet. And both of those arrows could have easily hit those little wings because there's no consequence. So the dwarf's got his helmet with his huge, ridiculous Warhammer wings sticking out the sides, and the arrows are just flowing right through them. They're stuck. It's Shar. Good morning. Dear, I'm playing a game with cardboard and plastic that's very expensive. Nick, I'm not sure that they define adjacent, but since movement and attacks are allowed diagonally, except when walls get in the way, I'd say it's permissible. That I'm on board. I think everybody else has pretty much voted yes, so that orc did get attacked. Shar got a cat chibi. I actually need to see this. Hold on. I need to see this. If the monsters are at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, then themselves are not adjacent to each other and Deathblow wouldn't work. I agree with that. I think Mozeth plays it to where you basically spin in a circle like Link from A Link to the Past. And I will not judge that at all. But I'll play it. I'll play it only if they're next to each other, orthogonally or diagonally. If they're at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, I won't Deathblow them. So, makes perfect sense to me. I love it. Let me turn off studio mode. There's Ward. There's me. Shar's got cat face, but doesn't have cat ears. I wonder if that's a thing we could do. Have cat ears. Link is the name of my Warhammer Quest elf. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right, we're going to get back to it. Every week I add something new into my OBS studio, and I have to continue redoing things. And the stream was late today because I got my new camera, and when I plugged it in and set it up, it broke everything. I broke everything. It wasn't the camera. The 2 orcs behind the first set are now going to fire their arrows at the barbarian. They are aiming at his fur-lined arse. One misses, but the other hits. And that's a 4. And coupled with that 3, that is a 7. The barbarian soaks up 3 of them, and the other 3 wounds he receives are the effect of an arrow that is now stuck in his left buttock. The barbarian suffers 3 wounds. Next, oh, he's angry now. Next, the final 2 orcs in the very back row attack the elf. I'm not counting that one. One of them does hit. Both of them hit. And they each do 2 and 3 damage. That is 5 and 6, respectively. The elf's toughness soaks up 3 of the first and 3 of the second, but he receives 2 and 3 wounds from each of the 2 arrows. And there's no getting around it. He's got 1 wound left, and he falls where he stands. The elf has died. All right, we've got a barbarian and we've got a dwarf, and these guys have got to get going. They've got to. I don't know if we can make this, guys. They got to go. They have to get out of here. The barbarian's going first, but only after I roll for unfortunate events. And yes, we do get an unexpected event because we rolled a 1. Drawing a card. 2d6 Skaven now enter the fight. 2d6 Skaven. Rolling. Next stream, funeral service for the heroes. Rolling. And that's a total of 7 Skaven that are entering the fight. These damn Skaven have rushed into the room, perhaps alerted by the extremely high-frequency cry of the elf in his death throes, to the precise location in the dungeon where the heroes are. So, with a total of 7 Skaven and a total of 6 orcs here remaining, it's time for the warriors phase. Does the barbarian go berserk? Yes, the barbarian totally goes berserk. We have rolled a 6. While berserk, he gets 1 extra attack every turn. Evolution just dropped $20 USD in my lap. Wishes of more death for the Echo Dragon. Stories of Bean Water Wars. That's a classic tale. An epic poem, if I've ever read one. I'm going to make sure that your kind donation goes immediately to the next bag of Death Wish. And I bet Shar really appreciates that as well. Skull, indeed. Thank you very, very much. You need monsters at, say, 3, 4, and 6 to cause a death blow. Yes. 3, 4, 6. No, 3, 4, and 6 wouldn't do it. The 4 and the 6 are too far from each other. Wait. 3 and... No, they're not. You're right. Sorry. 3... I'm not thinking of a proper clock. Moseth is correct. That's what I was thinking of as well. All right. Okay. So, he now gets 2 attacks. This is the first time my barbarian has gone berserk, and I have to say there's not a better time for this to happen. Except, you know, way earlier when we actually had to fight the gargoyle and all that, or the minotaur and all that. But I'm not gonna hold a grudge. He's gonna die soon anyway. We're gonna start by attacking this Skaven right here, and he's going to swing. I don't pay for funerals. I take payments as a necromancer healer for the heroes. Yes, I need the necromancer character expansion right now. That's a 5. That hits that Skaven, and that's a 4 in damage, coupled with the barbarian's strength of 4. That's 8, which means this Skaven dies. He's got 3 wounds. He just falls immediately. We'll place that Skaven right on the barbarian's character sheet, and we're going to death blow right into the next Skaven. That's a 6, and that Skaven dies to the barbarian's blade, which continues the glorious death blow right into the 3rd Skaven. And that's a 3, coupled with the barbarian's strength of 4, that's a 7. The Skaven has a toughness of 3 and wounds of 3, so he dies as well. And now the sword stops short of the dwarf. And that was an excellent death blow. That was fantastic. Could have been better. Wait, no, wait. Wait, says Nick. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Yes, or his blade meets an obstacle such as a wall or another warrior. So, for the Skaven, you have to roll 2 hit for each before damage. You got to roll 2 hits, not just damage if it's a death blow. Really? I was so excited. Roll to hit and wound the monster as normal. Damn it. All right. The Skavens come back to life. Where are they? They're on the Barbarian's character sheet. The second Skaven. That was a... What did I roll in the second Skaven? When I was thinking of... I'll just start over, because I think it was a high number. It was enough to kill him. Rolling to hit the second Skaven, that's a 4, and it does hit, because his toughness is 3, and... Yeah, I have to roll a 4 to hit a 3. So the damage, we don't count all out of the tray. We don't... We don't roll out of the tray. That's a 3 plus the 4. He doesn't soak up enough. He dies. Legitimately, the second Skaven dies, and he goes right into the third. I messed up my 1 damage that this orc has. He goes right into the third. That's a 2 with his plus... Nope, he doesn't hit. He don't hit that guy. And so the death blow actually stops there. But my barbarian is berserk, and he is attacking for the second time. So we are going to roll to attack this Skaven. That's a 4, and it does hit. And the resultant wound damage roll is 2, plus the strength of 4, that's 6, and this Skaven dies. Because that was 1, I would normally go right into the death blow and roll to hit the next one, but he's not... Well, there's a warrior. There's a warrior in the very next spot. So, thank you, Nick, for catching that. Even though it's totally lame, the death blow should just steamroll right through the rats. But no, I get it, and that's the way we'll play it going forward. Yeah, it would be awesome if some of these rules were more visible in the video game, because the whole reason that I started playing the video game first was to help me learn the board game fast. Like, second berserk attack. The second berserk attack took out the rat. There might be a delay in the chat versus the stream. If so, I'm sorry. But the video game did not help me learn the board game. There were things that I had to wrap my head around in the board game that make sense now that I've learned it, but I cannot go back and say yes, playing the board game first was a good idea. Rather, I should have played the board, I should have played the board game first. I do remember those conversations. It's only now that I can truly feel that regret. And you were right, I did not learn very much at all. And I heard the second game was probably a little more fun, but even further strayed from the board game. I still might give that one a try. And having played this, I might actually go back to the video game and play it some more as well. I don't think it's I've got a little bit of a different perspective on it now. So, having done that, it's now the dwarf's turn. The dwarf is just going to roll to hit this first orc right here, because if I death blow him, I can go right through and kill the rest of these guys adjacent to us. But the board game and knowing its rules brings clarity to the video game for sure. Yeah, that's better put than what I said, but that's what I was thinking. Let's tilt this down. Ah! Sorry, I dropped you guys. Dropped my flippin' phone. I just wanted to make things more visible. I'm about to invest in a bunch of mount solutions that I think will be very frustration-free for me. So you can't see my board now. Yeah, you can't really see it. But trust me, I'm not going to cheese anything behind the scenes. Actually, I could probably... yeah, I can do this. I can do this. Alright. Dwarf is attacking this orc right here. Here we go. It's a 6. That's a definite attack. And it's a 6 that kills him. That is glorious. That orc dies. He's the one who had some wounds on him already. 1 wound. The dwarf goes into a death blow to the second orc. Does he hit him? That's a 4. Yes, he hits him. And that's a 4. That's not an orc, that's a Skaven. But the 4 plus the dwarf's strength of 3 is 7, and the Skaven falls. Excellently done. And just rolls right into the next Skaven. We are rolling to hit the Skaven. It's a 6. It is a 6. Dwarf attacks. That's a 5, and that takes that's not a Skaven, that's an orc. But he kills him, regardless, because this orc's toughness is 4, and the dwarf just rolled a 5, added to his 3. That takes all 3 of the wounds of the orc out. This dwarf has just tanked. This dwarf and this barbarian together just tanked this group of enemies. And now they are going to turn around, although that does nothing, and face the rest of these guys. I'm not going to lie. I've got a little bit of hope now. Is it futile? Yes. So I have a question. Can I get the hell out of this dungeon if I just make a break for it in the next turn, rather than staying to fight and finish these guys off and wait for more monsters to come? If monsters are in the line of sight, can I leave this dungeon? Like, I've got 2 rooms to go through. Don't get me wrong, I realize I've got work to do regardless. But can I actually leave with monsters who are in range with ballistic attacks firing on us? If I can't, I'm going to stay and murder all of the monsters that are present. If I can, I'm going to make a break for it right after the monsters phase and unexpected event phase. I would be backtracking to the entrance. Just tell Ash to look it up himself. Hey, Ash, look it up yourself. The reason I ask it now instead of earlier is because the monsters are no longer in my way. That's not going to stop me from rolling a 1, and I'm probably going to roll a 1 on the way, but Yeah, this is a game that has so many rules to it, and it takes quite a bit of study and then working through different situations to really get it absorbed for me. I'm not speaking for everybody, just me. There's a lot to learn here, but they're at least very well laid out, and they are very easy to find in the book. I can't say that about every game. Like, I love Dark World. I know there are folks who are like, Hero Quest ripoff. It's not. Dark World is a pretty good game on its own, and not just Dark World. If it was by itself and there were no expansions, I would say, okay, the game's kind of boring. It's kind of a watered down Hero Quest. Once you play with the expansions, things are totally different. And Village of Fear is one of the coolest tabletop village crawlers, I'll call them, I've ever played. It ranks high in my book. Village of Fear specifically. But the rule book for Village of Fear is the worst rule book I've ever read. Information is arranged stupidly. It's not under its headline a lot of the times. It's not like a translation thing. It's just terribly written. It's written horribly. You go in there to look for rules, and it's not where you think it would be. Escaping is in the adventure book. I also really love that this comes with 3 books. It really feels like, even though I had to pay a lot of money for it, I really strongly believe this was definitely worth the price that you'd pay for it brand new back in the day. You can definitely turn and run. As long as you aren't pinned, the monsters will just chase you. Also, just check the escape table, and you can use that anytime as well. Evolution, I'm off. I need to get some dark music in my ears before lunch. Reach out when you want to touch on Tibia, and they're free in the evenings, even if more in-depth layout system is such key shortcuts. Thank you, Evolution. I didn't have time this week, and I think next week's going to be bad too because of some time-sensitive stuff I have to get to. But I do appreciate that help, and I do appreciate you dropping in and watching me get slaughtered and slaughter a little bit back. Thank you very much for the coffee money. I bow to you, good sir. Have a good one at work. Be safe. I can use the escape table anytime. I will try really, really hard to run to the entrance before I use the escape table. Like, if I start getting pinned by monsters on the way out, I'll use the escape table. But I see that I can roll on the escape table and just die, so I'll leave that for my last resort. All right, cool. The monsters are going to go next. So, first, Skaven will move here, and the dreaded monster phase begins. Double Valhalla Odin Force bags. If it covers it, absolutely. I don't see why it wouldn't. I think it does. Dash for the edge of the table. I will. And Nick agreeing escape table is definitely last resort. Good. It's good to know that I'm getting it. It's good to know that it's becoming intuitive. All right, I'll be fully prepared for Little Monk's content when I get to it at this point. First Skaven has walked up. He had movement of 5. These little guys can scamper. And he now has 2. The dwarf has weapon skill of 4. Skaven's going to have to roll a 4. He rolls a 2. He misses. Second Skaven moves up and attacks the barbarian. It's a 1. He misses. The third Skaven moves up to attack the barbarian diagonally. That's a 6. He does hit. And how much health does he inflict? That's a 4. Plus his strength of 3. That's 7. The barbarian has a toughness of 4. And that's 3 wounds the barbarian has suffered from this terrible rat attack. Ugh. Bringing him down to 5. So, that being done, the orc moves up. He can't reach anything, so he doesn't do anything. And now the 6 orcs fire their arrows. 3 of the orcs are going to fire their arrows at the dwarf, and none of them hit. We have a 3, and a 1. That's good. That's awesome. This dwarf is going to make it out. And the dwarf's actually got some monsters in the bag, so He's actually got quite a bit of stuff he can sell. So when I leave here, I'm going to have a tank dwarf. When I leave, I am going to bring this dwarf out of here. This back 3 archers are firing at the barbarian. They've already hit him in the booty. They've already hit him in the pec. Now, they're going to hit him right where the sun don't shine. Two of them have rolled 4s. 2 of their arrows are going right towards the barbarian. The first arrow, that's a 4 plus the strength of 3. The orc's bow strength of 3. That's enough to cause 3 wounds on my poor barbarian who is taking so much punishment, and that brings him down from 5 to 2. The second orc's arrow flies. That's off the board. Too bad. That was a 1. That's a 3, and coupled with the strength of 3, that's a 6, and that takes my barbarian out. 2 arrows to the crotch, and the barbarian is done. Oh boy. Grabbing the lantern as soon as he can, my dwarf has 12 wounds, and he is able to get out of here. He's able to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 in 3 turns get out of here. He will face attacks from the Skaven, who are able to outrun him and strike at him the entire way there, as well as attacks from not 2, not 4, but 6 orcs with bows and a seemingly limitless supply of arrows. However, the very first turn, I think I'm all right with trying for the dash first. So, without further ado, the power phase and the roll for an unexpected event. I need to set up a thing where I ask for donations whenever I roll a 1. As you can see, the event cards are in clear view. Six goblin spearmen. Goblins armed with spears may attack from 2 squares away, even past intervening monsters or warriors. They have movements of 4, and now they are going to surround my dwarf. With monsters of all 3 types on the board, I think my course of action is clear. I've highly enjoyed rushing into the dungeon. I was frustrated last week. I was actually quite a bit frustrated with some of the actions taken, and I hated losing my wizard. But my perspective was counseled, and it was changed based on the expectations set forth by the game designers. And I can tell you that this, despite its grim outcome, has been even more fun. Like, a lot more fun. This situation here seems hopeless, but it's not hopeless. It's not hopeless at all. We are going to escape. We will roll 2d6 on the following table. I want to death blow these monsters so badly. I will make sure not to roll a 2 or double 1s, double snake eyes. We will not roll the always bored, never boring intro on this. You've got enough monsters there that I think they would start fighting each other because there aren't enough enemies to go around. Yeah, they're all gonna fight for dwarf meat. I want the fatty parts. That's all the parts. I want the fatty parts. I want the beard. You can have the beard. What nutritional value does the beard have? Fiber and spice. I'm just reading the escape table. These are grim. These are grim. But I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to tell you guys what happens. It's a 6. The longest paragraph. Your warrior vanishes into the depths. After what seems like an eternity of wandering through twisty caves and tunnels, he sees a light in the distance and rushes headlong towards its welcoming glow. He has lost half of his gold and has suffered 2d6 wounds, modified for toughness and armor, at the hands of the dungeon's denizens. If he does not have that many wounds left, he is dead. That's an 8. So, modified for toughness. Which the dwarf has 5 of. That only becomes 3. So he's going to suffer 3 wounds, first of all, bringing him down to a very respectable 9. If he survives and the rest of the warriors are still alive, no, skipping that part. If he survives and the rest of the warriors are dead, he emerges at a dimly lit junction. Roll again on this table to see exactly where your warrior ends up, adding +1 to the dice roll every time you have to re-roll. Oh, wow. Roll again to see exactly where your warrior ends up. Okay, rolling. That is a 6. That's the same result. Even if I were to add the 1 to it at this point, it's the same result. So I suffer 2d6 wounds. That's a 4, and I don't suffer anything modified for toughness. The dwarf escapes the second scathing round of being lost. He survives, and we're going to roll again, adding +1 this time. That's a 3. I'm adding the 1 to make it a 4. Oh, I re-roll and add 2 because I should have added the 1 the first time. Good. Okay. I like it. I'm not even going to question it. I'm just going to go. That's a 4. This time, your warrior trips up in the first doorway and falls flat on his face. Place the warrior face down on one of the squares adjacent to the entrance doorway on the same board section as he started. The warrior wastes an entire turn getting back up and may then stay or try to flee again. While prone, he may be hit automatically. So, there's monsters here, but I'll just go ahead and place him where this goblin is, and just switch places with the goblin, because the rule said to place him adjacent to the doorway in the room where he started. And now, now I'm going to roll for the first goblin spearman. Oh, God. The Goblin Spearman has a weapon skill of 2, and the Dwarf has a weapon skill of 4. So he's got to roll a 4 to hit him. Oh, he doesn't have to roll anything. He's prone, so he gets hit. You rolled a 3 on your third roll. 2 reroll on escape table. Oh, you're right. I didn't add the 2. It's 5. I added the 1 for some reason. For some reason, I was super happy to just die. Yes, yes, yes. Correcting. Adjusting now. 2d6 damage. That's 8. Adjusted for toughness, he takes 3 wounds. Rolling again, we're going to add 3. That's 6. This time it's 9. Finally, we have a different result on the table. The way to freedom is a bitter struggle against what seems like hundreds of orcs and goblins. That's no lie. Your warrior loses 2d6 wounds modified for toughness and armor. If he survives, he manages to fight his way out, bleeding from a dozen injuries. He has escaped. We're going to roll 2d6 wounds and see if we live. Which honestly, with 6 wounds left, I think he's got a great chance. And that's a 6 total that I have rolled for wounds inflicted upon my dwarf while he is exiting this dungeon. Modified for toughness, he loses 1 wound. He has 5 wounds left, and he has made it out of the dungeon. He has escaped all by himself. He's going to have PTSD for years. His beard is coated in the blood of rat, orc, goblin, elf, wizard, dwarf, and barbarian. And he has exited into the light. A horde of rats, goblins, and orcs on his tail until he passes that last threshold into the sunlight. Guys, when I next start Warhammer Wednesday, next week's stream, it's going to be a bit boring because I'm going to be spending time looking at the roleplay book and trying to figure out what, if anything, I can buy to buff my tank-ass dwarf, who I will now regard with a well-deserved, commanded respect. I don't know if I can afford anything at all, but that's the route I'm going to go. I'm going to immediately employ the roleplay book, because after looking at the base rules of the game, they're fun and everything. This needs to be a roleplay experience. This has to be experienced with the roleplay book, in my opinion. Has to be. Has to be. And so with that, I'm out of time. Putting my guys back. I really do hope that I can play next week. I might be busy moving stuff around still. I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty sure I can get it all done. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to grab my stinking monsters here and add them up. I have 3 orcs. Each one is worth 55 gold. 55, 55, 55, and my 1 Skaven that the dwarf killed is worth 40. And so he has a total of 200, 300, and 65, 70, 75. 375 gold. That is the total that the dwarf will be carrying out of here today. You really need to protect the wizard at all costs next time. Keep him shielded with other heroes. Town or city? Are you going to give the dwarf his fallen comrades gold? I would. I will not, because the rules said that I gotta leave that hero and all their possessions and everything right where they sit, with the exception of the lantern. I'm just gonna consider them lost to the depths. Did he have enough time to loot their bodies? I think that's permissible. Even if it wasn't, I would anyway. Well, I appreciate the thought, but I'm gonna go ahead and just consider it lost. I'm gonna get out of here with the bare minimum and consider this the most conservative way I can think of playing, the most punishing way for me, the player. And I'll do my best to keep the wizard as well guarded as I already did in the last game, Glenn. But the 1-to-1 rule states that I gotta have monsters up against everybody, and so when he dies, due to monsters that were placed adjacent to him in the monster placement, he dies. You're talking to somebody who's a Hero Quest vet. I always try to guard my wizards. I know this. This is just common sense at this point. But the way that this game is, I can't even remember what took the wizard out last time. I just remember it didn't take long at all. It never does take long. If he's in the line of sight of something strong, he's going down. At least the wizard in this game is substantially stronger than the Hero Quest wizard. Like, this guy can hold his own in a fight against that guy, for sure. Just reading the rules for dead heroes, they get to keep all their... They get buried with their gold. Actually, their bodies never get found. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining. I'll make the town or city decision and all of that stuff next time. If you put him in a corner before and surround him with heroes, you can't place monsters adjacent to him. We'll see. We'll see. We're not going to be able to place him in the corner every time. I'm aware of that kind of advice. I am. It's not practical to do it every turn where you need to get through the dungeon, I would say, because the more chances you have of rolling the one, but I think that we'll just differ in terms of gameplay on that one. I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying. For now, the dwarf escapes with a respectable amount of gold, I think, and I can actually sell this silly Stone of Bravery for 250 gold. That's awesome. Can the dwarf use the Wizard Scroll equipment card? See, yeah, why not? The Hand of Death. The power scroll the scroll may only be used once and is then discarded. It costs no power to cast. I'm pretty sure anybody can grab this equipment because you have to take the torch. You got to grab the torch off of the barbarian because you can't just go without it. So I would say absolutely you can take their equipment cards. But yes, gotta go. Thank you guys again for dropping in. I appreciate Nick a ton and everybody else who lent their experience to the game to this newbie. I'm sure it is very frustrating in many parts to watch me play with my Hero Quest mindset. The dwarf can use other scrolls in the treasure deck. That's good to know because I'm using the treasure deck. The treasure stack is huge over there. It's waiting for me to not pick up any cards because I can't win any fights because I'm getting slaughtered. But anyways, gone for now. We'll start the next stream up with decisions that need to be made in order to facilitate the roleplay experience. Thank you guys for dropping in. I'm going to go. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your days. And if you're going to work, staying home, whatever it is, be safe, have fun, and see you next time.